Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. You are watching the Paris Fintech Forum Communities video interview series. I'm Elliott Gotkine, and today I'm joined by the Deputy CIO of Banque de France, Valerie Fasquelle. Great to have you with us.
Thank you very much for the invitation, Elliott.
Okay, so before we get going, let's learn a little bit more about the technology side of Banque de France. So, Valerie, a lot of excitement this year in finance and pretty much everywhere has been on artificial intelligence. What is Banque de France using it for, and how will it improve the way the French central bank operates?
So let me first mention that we have at Banque de France our own in-house open innovation center, which is called the Lab. We set it up in 2017, and this allowed us to develop and elaborate on a strategy for innovation work at Banque de France. So we have decided to put the priority on three technological trends: artificial intelligence, of course, blockchain, but also post-quantum cryptography. So when it comes to artificial intelligence, the first element is that when there is no data, there is no AI. So I think that if we develop a lot of strategy and a lot of efforts in the direction of artificial intelligence, it's because first we have a huge patrimony of data, which is in particular very relevant for a central bank. So we have decided to put one of the focus on the artificial intelligence at the interplay of our innovation strategy, which aims at digitalizing the bank, but also with in link of the data strategy we have, which aims at give easier access to data and share data. So that's the reason why we have decided to be very concrete, and we have developed 8 demonstrators for generative AI, and we are now expecting our business units to become familiar and to acculturate with these different technological possibilities, because we have a wide range of possible use case at the bank, from the banking supervision to the generation of IT code via the elaborating tendencies for financial and economics survey, including also user-oriented use cases. So we are working very concretely with our business units on the basis of technological possibilities.
Okay, and of course, another technology which you mentioned, blockchain, and in this context, I want to talk about central bank digital currencies or CBDCs. I know that Banque de France has been carrying out something like a dozen trials, I think, on CBDCs. How have they been going, and when will these trials, do you think, translate into concrete changes for French banks and or French consumers?
Actually, if we develop this program on wholesale central bank digital currency, our objective was really to address the expectations of the market community, which was really developing around what we call the tokenization of finance. So we saw a significant series of initiatives from the market for tokenizing securities. And today, in the field of wholesale payments and interbank payments, what is used as a settlement asset is, of course, central bank digital currency, and that's one of the key lessons of the big crisis of 2008 that happened a couple of years ago. So, really, what we wanted is to accompany these trends of the finance towards tokenization, to avoid that these interbank settlements, which are risky transactions, for them not to be settled anymore in central bank money. So that's why we decided to put, to a certain extent, cash on the ledger and to develop our own CBDC to accompany this move towards the tokenization of securities. So we have indeed launched in 2020 this first tranche of experiments. So thanks to this first tranche, we developed a lot of key lessons that we have shared with the community, and have shared with the community also of central banks. These allowed us to develop our private technology, blockchain technology, and also our own automated market model, which is derived from the decentralized finance. And with that, we have recently, last year, launched a second tranche of experiments to keep on addressing two use cases. The first one is to keep on accompanying the tokenization of finance, so to ease delivery versus payments, to ease the efficiency and the safety of payments. And the second use case is, of course, the cross-border use case, because we are very much engaged in a G20 roadmap for enhancing cross-border and cross-currency payments. So the lessons we derive from these experiments really aimed at making the community aware of all the benefits, in particular in the settlement of the transactions, but in all the back office activities behind the core settlement, but also highlighting the risk, the difficulty, and in particular, the sensitivity of the legal arrangements which are behind these experiments. So these allowed us to make a lot of progress, to show that the central bank has to keep and to stay future-proof. And we are progressing along this way with our different partners.
Okay, so we've heard a bit about the technology side of Banque de France. Let's now learn a little bit more about Valerie. So, Valerie, if I'm not mistaken, you joined Banque de France in 1993 and you've worked there ever since. What were your plans or dreams before you joined Banque de France?
I'm afraid I had no particular dream, but to be operational and to be concrete and to build something. So it's true that Banque de France gave me the possibility to make this dream real and to through my career, and in particular in payments and market infrastructure, to build things. So I was very much engaged in the coordination of large-scale European projects like Target 2 or Target 2 securities. I have initiated the CBDC for interbank activities in 2020 at the bank. So it was a very good opportunity to make concrete things and to change a bit the world from my very modest perspective. So now I'm working in the IT, which is a complete different battlefield, I would say. You mentioned that I've made all my career at Banque de France. That's true. I'm also graduated from Sciences Po Paris and the Paris Dauphine University. So in the IT world, I am a double exception to a certain extent. I am a woman in a world of men, and I am a non-engineer in a world of engineers. So sometimes it makes my life a bit difficult, but nevertheless, so far I survived. So Banque de France is a very nice company for that.
Well, I wanted to ask you about that, and I'm almost embarrassed that it's still a topic worthy of discussion in 2023. But despite many initiatives across Europe, across the world, there's still a lack of diversity in finance and fintech. But presumably things today are better than they were when you joined Banque de France in 1993. How much have they changed and how much further do they need to go?
I have first to say that as far as I'm concerned, in Banque de France, I have been lucky enough for not being that confronted to this glass ceiling, because I had always had the opportunity to offer my services and for my services to be accepted. But if I look around me, indeed, there is a lot of progress which has been made. Progress is still needed in this field. Progress has been made thanks to a lot of initiatives, legal, private initiatives from the company. But I think that a lot of efforts still remain to be done in the mind of the woman. Let me explain that briefly. I think that for women, we put a lot of emphasis on the expertise as a source of legitimacy, probably much more than men for that. So we only decide and dare to go in a given direction if we are completely secure that the foundations are 100% solid. So sometimes we should probably also ease and improve the situation by looking differently to things and by daring a bit more than we currently do. So I think it's primarily also a question of mindset.
Great. So a key part of this interview is to get your take on the future of finance. But first, we are going to take a very quick break, after which we're going to continue our conversation with the Deputy CIO of Banque de France, Valerie Fasquelle. Welcome back, and don't forget, if you're not already a full member of our community, everything you need to join can be found at www.parisfintechforum.com. And now, Valerie, let's talk about the future of finance. So we talked a little bit about CBDCs, central bank digital currencies. China already seems quite advanced on that front, and we've seen initiatives by a number of countries. Some have actually started and they decided that they don't really want to go down that route. Looking to the future, how do you see things playing out? Are we just going to see digital euros, digital pounds, digital dollars, digital yuan? Just is that the way things are going to go?
So that's a difficult question, because you know that prediction is always a very difficult matter, in particular because it relates to the future. But let me try a couple of thoughts about that. I think that a lot of central banks have developed efforts and are engaged vis-à-vis central bank digital currency. This is valid both for the retail area and for the wholesale area. When it comes to retail, what we see is that actually central banks developing an action towards retail CBDC are doing it for payment efficiency and payment safety. And on top of that, for advanced economy, there is always and very often a question and an objective of financial inclusion, which is obviously not the case for our countries. And when it comes to retail CBDC, I really think that we should pay a lot of attention to the reason why we go in this direction and how we would then reach this direction. And that's a question we have experienced for the digital euro. The first element has to do the why, is that a retail digital central bank currency should bring value to the citizens. Otherwise, you develop a solution which is looking for a problem. So in our advanced economies, the very good reason for developing a retail CBDC is the likelihood of a decline of cash we are observing progressively but surely in our economies. So that's the assessment we have made in Europe. That's exactly the very same assessment the UK has been doing for the digital pound. The second element is the how. And for Europe, what is very much important is to keep completely valid the current partnership we have between the central bank and the commercial banks. So in our perspective, the digital euro should be the kind of continuum of cash, but the cash is the digital age. So it means that all the partnership which is currently valid for the cash should remain completely valid for the digital euro. So it means that digitalization cannot mean the deletion of central bank money, but digital central bank digital currency cannot mean the dispersion of the commercial bank money. So this element is very much important. So when you look at the surveys of the Bank of International Settlement, what they observe is that for the time being, there are only 4 central banks that have issued their own retail central bank digital currency, but there is a quite huge likelihood that these should increase in the future. But central banks are already very much developing as well a wholesale central bank digital currency. In this case, of course, the rationale is completely different because we look at cross-border transaction and also the tokenization of finance. But this movement towards retail and wholesale digital currency, central bank digital currency, is really a fundamental trend of the digitalization of finance.
And looking ahead to the future, Valerie, we talked a little bit about artificial intelligence. Maybe just talk to me about the kind of innovations you expect commercial banks, consumers to be enjoying in France, in Europe, in the years ahead, thanks to technology developments.
First, there is, of course, what we call the Internet of Things, which is probably some of the future developments we may find in finance and probably to be developed by private actors much more than central bank, for sure. Another quite interesting technological aspect is the post-quantum cryptography, which is led by the potential and the power the quantum computing could bring to finance. So you may be aware that there is currently technological progress in this field to build up quantum computing and to develop all the technical infrastructure which is needed for that. So calculation compute power, which is first of all needed for that. And we know that there are some algorithms which are coming from this computing and quantum computing, which run the risk of being in a position to break our current cryptographic keys. So for the time being, it's not the case yet, but a lot of countries and a lot of actors are currently storing data, which are for the time being secured data, so data which cannot be accessed in the perspective of having in the future the keys being able to unlock the security of this data. So that's what we call the post-quantum cryptography. And post-quantum cryptography has a potential huge impact for finance because a lot of financial transactions are relying on cryptographic keys. So that's the reason why Banque de France is already very much engaged in experiments on post-quantum cryptographic elements. So we have been testing these on our side with other central banks, and we are currently discussing and having conversations with some market participants to set up interbank experiment in that field. So this could be a major concern for the digital finance in the coming years.
Okay, well, that's something to look forward to. But look, Valerie, it's time now for our round of rapid fire questions. Are you ready?
I'm ready, Elliott.
Excellent. So I've got 90 seconds on my timer. Just want one word answers from you if we can. And once the buzzer goes, then we will end this round. So away we go. fintech segment, in your opinion, has the biggest potential over the next 5 years?
Artificial intelligence.
What is the biggest pain point in your everyday financial life that you would like to see resolved?
Less men in IT.
Are we at the beginning, middle, or end of the fintech wave?
In the middle.
Does Banque de France have a metaverse strategy?
Yes, for training and HR.
Have regulations in the EU and the US kept pace with all the new possibilities in the financial industry?
Not yet.
How would you describe NFTs, non-fungible tokens? Are they a scam, B, an interesting concept, or C, part of the future that we really don't want to miss out on?
Part of the future.
Have you ever personally invested in crypto?
Never ever.
Are physical points of sales part of the future of finance?
Oh yes, definitely.
Out of 10, how likely is it that in the next 10 years, where 10 is the most likely, that one of the neobanks will be as profitable as a top-tier legacy bank?
7.
Okay, well, I had a few more to ask you there, but we are out of time for our round of rapid-fire questions and for our conversation. So I really just want to thank you, Deputy CIO of the Banque de France, Valerie Fasquelle, for joining me today.
Thank you, Elliott.
And for everyone watching, we will be back again next time with another big name from the world of finance and technology. We do hope you'll be able to join us again then. In the meantime, don't forget to subscribe to the Paris Fintech Forum YouTube channel and to follow us on Twitter, or X as it's now called, at Paris Fin Forum. That's all for now. See you next time. Bye-bye.